President Vaughan, it is my privilege to present Dr. Leroy Hood as a candidate for an honorary Doctor of Science degree from the University of Tampa. Dr. Hood earned his undergraduate degree from the California Institute of Technology, an MD degree from Johns Hopkins University, and the PhD at Caltech. After a brief stint as a senior investigator at the National Institute of Health, Dr. Hood began a 21-year career as a faculty member at Caltech, the last 15 of which he served as Bowles Professor of Biology. During his time there, Dr. Hood and his colleagues developed 4 sequencer and synthesizer instruments that paved the way for the Human Genome Project's successful mapping and understanding of the human genome. He and his students also deciphered many of the complex mechanisms of antibody diversification that led to huge advances in immunology. In 2000, Dr. Hood founded the nonprofit Institute for Systems Biology. Hood believes that a combination of big data and systems biology has the potential to revolutionize healthcare and create a proactive medical approach focused on maximizing the wellness of the individual. In 2010, ISB partnered with The Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center to establish a nonprofit P4 Medicine Institute. Its goal is to lead the transformation of healthcare from a reactive system to one that predicts and prevents disease, tailors diagnosis and therapy to the individual consumer, and engages patients in the active pursuit of a quantified understanding of wellness. That is, a health system that is predictive, preventive, personalized, and participatory. P4. He has co-authored textbooks in biochemistry, immunology, molecular biology, genetics, and systems biology, and has published more than 900 journal articles and book chapters. Dr. Hood is a member of the National Academy of Sciences, the National Academy of Engineering, and the National Academy of Medicine. Of the more than 6,000 scientists worldwide who belong to one or more of these academies, Dr. Hood is one of only 20 who have been elected to all 3. He is the recipient of numerous national and international awards, including the Lasker Award for Studies of Immune Diversity, the Kyoto Prize in Advanced Technology, the Heinz Award for pioneering work in systems biology, the National Academy of Engineering Fritz J. and Dolores H. Russ Prize for developing automated DNA sequencing, the National Medal of Science, and the National Academy of Science Award for Chemistry in Service to Society, to name only some. The honorary degree is the highest honor that the University of Tampa bestows. It is conferred on individuals of special merit who have gained substantial recognition and whose achievement embodies the values of this university. In recognition of the contributions to science and to social welfare, I ask that you confer the honorary Doctor of Science degree upon Dr. Leroy Hood.
Dr. Hood, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science this 7th day of May in the year 2022. And we are going to hood you and present you then with the certificate.
So I'm going to talk to each and every one of you as a student and give you, I think, some of the most important advice you'll ever get in your life. And the bottom line is health is important, and I'll validate that. But each and every one of you, be you young or intermediate or middle age or old, each and every one of you has the chance to direct the pathway of health to optimize your life in ways you can't even yet imagine. If you think about the basic rights of humans, and we can argue about what rights mean, but I would say the right to education, to jobs, to collegiality with family and friends and so forth, and the freedom to make choices about where you go. All of those are very fundamental rights. And the point I'll make is health underlies and is the foundation for every one of those. Without health, you can never reach your potential. So health is really key. And I guess an interesting question is, what exactly is health? From my point of view, it's the following. Each of us, from birth to death, has a pathway, has a trajectory, and at different stages along that trajectory, we have different states of health. I would argue there are three fundamental stages of health: wellness, which is what we want to optimize, the transitions from wellness to disease, and then finally disease and its progression. With what I'm going to describe in a few minutes, I can tell you, number one, we've learned how to exceed the wellness you start with by a factor of 2 or 3 or 5. None of us are at our full health kind of potential. Number two, we've learned how to determine those times when you transition to disease, and the hope is we can reverse the disease early when it's simple. And the attractiveness of that is, in time, we'll get rid of chronic diseases. And finally, we can obviously deal with diseases. So I think a really important question then is, what exactly is wellness? And I would say there are two fundamental types of wellness. There's a conventional wellness that you've all heard about, diet and exercise and sleep and avoiding stress and so forth. And that part of wellness is very important. But the essence of that part of wellness is it assays the external parts of your body. The second type of wellness is a revolutionary new data-driven wellness, where we can interrogate the inside of your body and determine how all your organs are with regard to health. And it gives a dimensionality in wellness that exceeds by 2 orders of magnitude that of conventional wellness. And there are two things that come out of this data-driven wellness that I'll really emphasize. One is, for the individual, it gives us the opportunity to analyze internal and external contributions and identify the actionable possibilities that can either optimize your wellness and or let you avoid disease. And the other thing I'll say is the way we measure the internal data-driven features are, one, to analyze your genome, that is the source code of life which sets up the fundamental framework for what you are as a human being, and a second set of analyses that are called phenomic analyses, and these constitute the integration of your lifestyle, your genome, and your environment. And they, at every point in your life, converge to have the phenome changing. And we can assay the phenome by looking at blood components or the bacteria in your gut, the so-called microbiome, or with digital health. Each of us has a unique list of actionable possibilities that will maximize the wellness and the opportunities. And let me give you just one simple example. A defective gene in your genome can lead to a disease called malignant hypothermia. This is a disease that, if you get the wrong anesthetic in an operation, activates a runaway burning up of your body, and it inevitably leads to death. It is critical to know whether or not you have that gene, so you'll never be exposed to inappropriate anesthetics. And from the phenome, the blood analysis, and all of these things, a really exciting new measurement we can make is a measurement which gives you your biological age, that is, the age your body says you are, as opposed to the age your birthday says you are. The further your biological age is below your biological age, the healthier you are. And so this whole fabric of wellness and the conventional and the data-driven can use that as a metric to assess success. And in my own instance, I've practiced a lot of these actionable possibilities for many years. I'm more than 15 years in biological age below my chronologic age. So it delays the time at which you even have to think about retirement. Anyway, this is just to give you an idea that with these kinds of analyses and a new program with 1 million individuals that will run over 10 years to identify genome, phenome profiles and everything, we expect to generate 10,000 or more new actionable possibilities that will move wellness into a totally different dimension than we have right now. So how can you go about participating in this process right now? One is you should educate yourself as to what's coming down the pike, and you have many tools that you can do this with now. I think a second thing is there are many small companies out there that are doing bits and pieces of this data-driven wellness, and you can certainly investigate them. And I think a third possibility is we hope within 2 to 3 years to have the ability to extend this genome, phenome, data-driven wellness to consumers all the way across the country. So keep tuned for the next few years. But what I also will stress is data-driven Fitbits and Oura rings and so forth are very powerful. The Fitbit gives you a sense of exercise and a whole variety of other kinds of things. The Oura ring actually breaks your sleep down into its 4 components, and if you use it effectively, you can really maximize and optimize sleep. But one thing you'll have never heard of, and that is the idea that brain health is utterly sensual and key, and it's not practiced in any medical profession I know of. Seriously, brain health for wellness. And we have partners in this big program we're initiating that have learned to use computers to assess 25 different cognitive features in your brain, to evaluate them, and then to optimize them and bring them back to normal activity. And just to give you an idea how important this program is, Michael Merzenich, who pioneered these techniques, showed beautifully in his prize award that your cognitive abilities rise to a maximum in your mid-30s, and for everyone, they decay thereafter. He took 1,080-year-olds and showed for most of them, with something called Brain HQ, you could restore them to what they were approximately in their mid-30s. So there's hope for all of us, but brain health is really key. So it's clear that this is going to drive healthcare from a focus almost entirely today on sickness to a focus on wellness. And it's clear that each and every one of you, be young or be old, have the opportunity to chart and direct and optimize your own healthcare system. And it's absolutely essential that you do that, because if you do, we all have the potential for living mentally alert, physically capable into our 90s or 100s. And then the really fascinating question becomes, what are you going to do with the extra 20 or 30 years you've been given, hopefully feeling like many of you do today? That is the opportunity and the challenge for you in the future. Thank you.